Okay, so come and sit up on your mats, comfortable seated position, whatever works for you this morning. We're going to have a little focus today on some hip stuff. So it can be quite nice as you sit here and do your breathing to place your hands on your hips, but that might feel a bit awkward, but actually laying hands on areas of the body is useful. But if it makes you feel like you can't sit comfortably, then change it up. Doesn't matter. Close your eyes and begin to slow your breathing down, right? So you take control of the breath. You decide it's going to have a slightly different rhythm. And this begins to feel like you are pulling your attention inwards, right? Away from all the crazy, but more inwards to feeling and being present with your physical self. And morning classes are just a good kind of spot, really, to just have a little kind of look, really, what's going on for you. So you might initially notice some physical stuff, but there'll also be the underlying emotional stuff. Hips are a little bit of a, sinkhole. We know now that we store quite a lot of deep layers of emotion in the hip area. It's not unusual when you do stuff around this to feel a little kind of, like you've peeled a couple of layers off. Do 3 Shivananda breaths. Take a slow breath in. Feel like you fill yourself up to the brim. Then hold your breath and soften your shoulders, right? When you feel that back body softness. Breathe out through the nose slowly. Do 2 more of these completely at your own speed. My guidance may not be the way you want to do them. You breathe in deeply, you hold your breath for as long as feels interesting, and then you breathe out. And concentrate on it, feel what happens during them. After you've done the 3rd one, breathe in and out normally. Notice that you might be more involved in the breath pattern now. Now we're really slowly going to open the eyes and come back to the room. Okay, if your hands have been on your hips, just give them a little shake because it can be a bit awkward. We're going to start with shoelace. Shoelace might require you to have a prop, right? A block, quite useful. Take your legs out in front of you. Get hold of your right leg and bring it towards you, but away from the crotch. It's like you're in a cross-leg position, but there's a gap. Flex your left foot and stack it on top of your right knee. This might be too much and a bit too awkward, in which case you put a block in front of your right knee and you put your flexed left foot on top of it. So when you look down, you can see a kind of upside down triangle, right, of space. Sit bones rooted, long spine. Just sit up for a moment and feel the edges of your feet. It's very important to have flexed, active feet pressing down. And it is going to be a lot, right, in your hip, okay, particularly the left hip. I'm not mirroring you, I just realised. Just switch that out. Makes it a little simpler. I'm going to do a twist. Take a long breath up, extend the arms. Turn to the right so you face your left foot that's on top. And float your hands down, right? So you're diagonally frame. At this point, you might think, oh, I need another block under a hand or something if you can't reach. Try not to collapse in the belly. Take a long breath forwards. Hinging at the hip line, fold. You might not get very far. It's okay. The left outside edge of hip gets a pigeony feeling, right? Your piriformis, this muscle on the external rotating part of your hip stretching out. And it's a lot, right? It's a lot. This works, I promise you. Slower breathing, right? When you inhale, think to yourself, I've got all the time in the world. When you breathe out, just kind of feel for allowing the discomfort. I know this is very counterintuitive. If you've got tightness around the jaw and the lips and the neck, remove it as best you can. Soften your chin down to your chest, even though your low back is long. Big sigh out, very helpful. Slowly rise up back to center. And strangely, center feels now quite nice, even though it might not at the beginning. Just do the other side, reach the arms up, inhale. Almost have a little reach around the armpit as you alternately stretch. Twist to the left, okay? 2 hands float down. Pause, take a breath from belly button to underside of ribs, upwards. And then fold just a little bit. It can be so small. Stretch loose to the outside edge of the right hip. Really, this is, it's just a kind of very intense exploration. Notice your behavior around this intensity. If you feel like running in the opposite direction, it's completely normal. Slowly come up. Nice. We're going to take the legs out in front of us and come into Baddha Konasana, which in comparison is going to feel not so bad. Shake your knees down a bit. Let's do a forward fold. Grab your ankles or hands in front. Breathe up into the low ribs. Pull your chest. When you exhale, fold. Okay, you might use your hands to pull your chest here. But when you get to the point where you know you're at your kind of range, try to soften the upper back, right? Let your shoulders soften, chin to chest. Breathe. Knees want to ping up. You think, maybe I won't do that. Soft breaths into the pelvic bowl and around the hip sockets. And the emotion that you need to drive when you do these poses is a lot of kindness, right? It's intense, but you're still being kind to yourself. Slowly come up, really nice. Take your hands outside of your thighs and squeeze them together. Shake the legs out and then we'll do shoelace on the other side. Pick up your left leg and bring it in front of you, but away from the crotch. Right foot this time, flexed and active on top of the knee or on a block in front of your left shin. Sit down on your sit bones, take a breath up. Twist and turn to the left, float the hands down, right? One on either side of that left thigh. And breathe upwards. Excuse me. As you exhale, fold with length, right? And your fold might be tiny. Right butt cheek plugs to the floor, and that's intense, right? Feels intense. I mean, I'm continually fascinated by this, right? I mean, just it's so nice not to be doing this. What is that all about? And then I think to myself, I know that in my hips and that tightness that's being revealed now, there is stuff that needs to be processed, right? It needs to be kind of moved through. Just let a small piece of it float away. Come up to straight, and it's going to feel a little better. Reach your arms, inhale. Twist to the other side, right to the left, to the right even. Fingertips down, lift your chest. As you exhale, fold, fold, but it's small. Plug down through the left butt cheek, activate the feet again. Take the slowest breath you can possibly imagine into your body. Exhale out. What goes on in the deepest, darkest places in yourself, right? That's a bit kind of macabre, I know. But sometimes they have to be kind of confronted with softness, with kindness, with small baby steps. Come up slowly. Ooh, that's delightful. Let's do the legs out, out. Shake them all about. For me, a straddle feels kind of good. Pull the butt cheeks out behind you. Flex your feet. Do a really simple side bend here. Put a hand to the side of you. Reach up through the left arm and lean to the left. And just graciously breathe into your left side ribs. Ooh, like this stretch and all the release out of those hips. Like just feel it kind of ooze out of you. Pressing the legs to the ground, ground yourself out. And then float this hand over, land it. Reach up through the right armpit, stretch, and then wrap across yourself. Side ribs open, lengthening the waistline. Slowly float up on the breath in. Very nice. Hands to the underside of your thighs with the knees bending and help your legs back together. Shake it out. Let's slide down, okay? We're going to do basic elbow to knee, which starts rather nicely with the feet on the floor, okay? Have a little look if you're not sure. I'll cue it, so it should be easy to kind of follow. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Take your hands into an interlace behind the head, elbows wrap. You can do this interesting thing here before you've done anything else. You can lift your armpits, your triceps to the ceiling and feel your shoulder blades kind of slide around the edges of you. They're very mobile shoulder blades. You forget this sometimes, and they get quite sticky, obviously. Connective tissue. But this wrap, right, reach out your arms. You're not pulling on your neck, you're just lifting your arms up. Okay, take a slow breath in. Back ribs fill up with breath. Hold your breath, flatten the low back, okay? Pick your left knee up, stack it over here. Now exhale, lift your armpits, elbows towards the left and up, pull belly down. Inhale, foot down, and the shoulders down. Any moves, hold the breath, flatten low back, exhale, pick your right knee up. As you exhale, lift your rack towards the right and up, pull your belly down, still breathing out. Inhale, foot down and shoulders down. Hold the breath, flatten low back, exhale, left knee up. As you exhale, concentrate on wrapping and pulling belly down. Breathe out. Inhale, foot down, shoulders down. Soften your mouth. Hold the breath, flatten low back, exhale, knee up, exhale, reach towards it. Lifting your armpits, pull belly down. Inhale all the way back down. Hold the breath, flatten low back, exhale. As you exhale, left knee up, reach towards it and up. Pull your belly down right to the end of your breath. Keep pressing out. Inhale, back down to ground. Hold the breath, flatten low back, exhale. Pick up the right knee as you exhale, lift towards it. Not pulling on your neck, wrapping. And then slowly down, okay? Feet down and shoulders down. So that made everything much smaller. I just want you to feel where the pose begins, right? Where the ab stuff begins. Now let's take the feet off the floor. So we're stacking both knees over hips to begin with, right? Do the opposite interlace of your fingers, arms behind the head. Elbow to knee moving into rolga, right? Rolga is where you grab a foot and place it to inner thigh like tree pose. You traction up. I will cue it. Take a breath. Hold your breath, flatten the low back, exhale, exhale, reach to the left. This time, right leg extends 45 degrees away, press through the sole of the foot, belly down. Inhale, knees stack over hips, soften your shoulders. Hold your breath, curl tail. As you exhale, reach to the right, left leg presses away from you. Elbows up, belly down. Inhale, back to center, softness around the mouth. Hold the breath, curl tail. Exhale, elbows to left thigh. This time, right leg goes straight up to ceiling. Lift your left shoulder blade off the mat, pull belly down. Listen up, take a brand new inhale. Release your left hand, grab your left ankle, plug the foot to inner right thigh. As you exhale, traction the right thigh up, pull your belly down. Inhale, knees bend, hands behind the head. Hold breath, curl tail. As you exhale, reach to the right, left leg straight up to ceiling. Breathe out, look up. Take a full breath in, right hand grabs right ankle, press it to inner thigh. As you exhale, traction the thigh up, pull your belly down, breathe out. Inhale, back to center, one more round, then it's done. Hold the breath, curl tail. As you exhale, reach to the left, right leg up to ceiling. Spread the toes, pull belly down. Take a full inhale, left hand grabs left ankle, push foot to thigh, thigh to foot, exhale out, lift the right foot up. Inhale, knees bend. Hold the breath, curl tail. Reach to the right, left leg up. Press your belly down as you look at the ceiling. Full breath in, right hand grabs right ankle. Plug foot to inner thigh, push the two together. Exhale, lift your left foot. Inhale, release, foot down, shoulders down. Woo! I tell you what, put your hands on your low belly, come to Baddha-Konasana. Soles of the feet together, legs open. Have a sense of swirling your breath around the pelvis. All the parts of it, the front, the back, the low belly, the hips. The external kind of part of the hips, the front of the hips. Let your knees move a little lower towards the ground. Fabulous. Take hands to outside edge of thighs, draw them together. Have a block handy. We'll do bridge pose. Tuck the feet a little closer to the bottom, stroke your heels. Arms to the side of the body, very relaxed. Take an in breath, right? Feel like you notice where it moves in the front ribs. Curl your pubic bone. As you exhale, press into active feet, lift your hips up. Take a breath or two to feel for reaching the thighs forwards and tucking the low glute, the muscle around the sit bones, into the hamstring crease. Shoulders want to roll under you and get very tense and active. Try to soften them. It's counterintuitive, but worth a go, right? Grab your grip, place it under your sacrum. High side, medium side. What's available for you, and then release your body weight onto it so you're fully supported. Just take a breath to notice the difference, right? Don't let your legs go completely floppy, they're still partially kind of active. Particularly the feet, right? And slightly lift the toes off the mat. Slow breaths into the front ribs that rise in front of your eye line. Walk your right foot a little more centered. It presses down. Inhale, left knee to chest. Left leg straight up. Glance at your toes on the left foot and activate them. Bend the left leg. Hook your flexed left foot over the right knee and allow the left knee to float a little lower towards the ground. So this is your work, right? How can you allow a bit more softness around the hip area, but do it with kindness rather than, I'm so tight here, I'm just kind of shit, like all the stuff you might say, which is a little negative. I quite like a good old self-traction. This is personal, my hands here. Your left hand can grab the handle of your left thigh pretty close to the crease. You push your hand forwards and down, and you feel like you're kind of lengthening your thigh bone away from the hip socket. And it feels like you encourage yourself to let go a little bit. When you then breathe in and reach your breath into the left side of the waistline, you can extend upwards away from the hip as well. Flubber out the lips. Mouth and jaw get very connected to hip stuff. Release your hand if it's there. Release the leg. Float the left foot down. To the other side. Weight in the left foot. Inhale, right knee to chest. Right leg straight up. Spread the toes. Look at your toes a moment. Active foot. Flex it. Look it on top of the left thigh. Let the right knee hang down. Take a few breaths, right? A few beats to kind of think about this. There's always more space. There's always more layers we can kind of delve into in the hips. They're kind of the gift that keeps on giving, sadly. Right hand might traction the right thigh. You grab it. You push it away from the socket and slightly down. Whilst you do this, you don't tense your mouth or your jaw. You have to make some silly noises. Just sigh out. I'm going to let my hip flex again. Let my hip flex again. Always a little more space than you think. And creating space around the joints is, it's like it creates space in the body, but honestly, what it really does is creates more mental space. That's why yoga works. Release the right hand, put the right foot down. Ooh, already feels like I'm a little longer. Push into active feet, lift your hips off and block. Pause. Take an in-breath, your tail. Come down super slow, top back, mid back, low back, all the way down. Recognize that the flatness and the length in your back is because you have created space between the individual vertebrae. That is a bonus situation. Let's roll onto one side and come up to seated, press into your hands. All fours. Let's do tabletops. You're going to stack your wrists under your shoulders, knees under hips. We'll do some nudges, right? So you're just going to nudge a hip to either side and just think, oh, I'm just going to kind of press into the outside edge of my hip as I do that. Just kind of knocking into something gently. Begin to draw a figure of 8. So bring your hip, your bottom down towards the kind of left heel. Swirl around the underside and then diagonally up around the top part of the 8 figure. Freestyle, really. Not really anything doing. What does your body feel like when you move it into these weird kind of contortions. And where's the bit in this figure of 8 where you hesitate because you think, oh, that's quite a lot. For me, it's down at the bottom, right? It's like down at the bottom to the sides. Yep, sticky. Now go the other way, which really screws with your head, right? Whoa, how do you do that? Just the other way around this infinity loop. Don't take yourself too seriously. That's got to be a mantra. Hands stacked under shoulders, knees under hips. Cat-cow tilts because they will feel yummy. Inhale, lower your belly, flare your collarbones forwards. Exhale, scoop upwards, right? Feel for undulation through the spine, tuck chin, tuck tail. Go again. Inhale, lower down, slow, slow. What can you feel on the way down? Exhale, push up and out of yourself, engage your core, soften your chin. Last one, inhale, lower down. Exhale, scoop all the way up. Come back to neutral. Lift your left arm out straight in front of you. Take your right leg straight out behind you. Lower your right hip and control your breathing, right? Not breathing, not an option. Lift your belly into connection. Press actively through the right heel. Your left hand is a jazz hand. Take an in-breath. As you exhale, join your left elbow and right knee underneath you. Scoop your belly up, pull through the core. Inhale, straighten the limbs. Steady with the right hip. Exhale, draw inwards, scoop the belly. Push into your right armpit. Slow, slow. Extend, extend. Float the left hand down, right knee down. For a moment, be stable on all 4 points of contact and think, oh, that's quite good. Other side, right hand up, press into left armpit. Left leg extends, flex the foot. Lower your left hip so it's level with the right hip. Breathe. Control, it's just a floating control. Take a breath in. Exhale, right elbow and left knee connect underneath you. Squeeze the belly up. Inhale, extend out, pressing through the left heel of foot. Exhale, slowly, slowly draw the elbow and knee together. Lift your core. Extend straight out. Float the right hand down, left knee down. Forearms down. For dolphin, grab a handle of bicep. Pivot on your elbows, forearms flat to mat. When you breathe, push the floor away, wrap your armpits. Lift through the shoulder blade area. Curl your toes. On an exhale, straighten your legs. Walk your feet in a little tighter and lift your tailbone. Actively assume that your core can be helpful and lift it a little higher. Softly shake the head out side to side. So let's do this. One leg lift. Put weight into right foot. And a slow inhale, raise the left leg up. Activate the left leg and lift it higher as you press the floor away. If you are collapsing into your right hip, press some energy into the crease and lift out of it slightly. Big breaths. Scooping on an exhale, lower the left leg slowly to the mat. You need to pause, come to knees. We're going to the other side. Right leg comes up. Join in when you are ready. Lift out of your right foot. Higher, higher. Press the floor away. Wrap your armpits. Neck is long. The lean, the collapse into left hip. Notice it. Slightly lift out of it. Exhale, scoop the belly, lower the right, down, down, no rush, even though we'd love to. Knees to mat. Let's do child's pose. Tuck your toes together, widen the thighs, and drape yourself through. Softness in the pelvic floor. I think, child's pose is so delicious for hips and pelvis. Your bum sink downwards more. Forehead to the ground. Add a little twist to this. Start to walk both hands off the left side of the mat. Go as far as you can, reaching particularly through the right fingertips. So if you could see yourself from above, you'd be in a little bendy C shape. But your right button sticks downwards. Gorgeous stretch in the right armpit sideways. Open your mouth, sigh out. Walk your hands back across the mat, go to the right side now. So the left side of you gets the same opening. Sink through the left sit bone, reach your left fingertips away, breathe big into back ribs. Softness around the pelvis, this kind of kindness to yourself in the softer poses, and equally in the tough poses. Come back to center, really nice. Straighten up, down dog. Okay, hands really active, curl the toes, upside down triangle. Pedal out your feet, because that's going to feel like you release some stretch from the back of the legs. And then very gently step your left foot forwards, come into horse stance. So you're facing the long edge of the mat. Your legs are wide. And you're sinking your pelvis, your butt, your hips down through the middle. Beautiful. You've got tight leggings on, roll the waistband down. You don't have to lift your top up. You're going to do Agni Sara, right? So, breath of fire, hands at the top of the hips, lock out the arms, hang your bottom downwards, right? And just do a little kind of like, could you roll your pelvis a little bit? I mean, there should be a bit of fluidity around the kind of bottom area of you. And settle back, right? Here's the breath pattern. You take a big breath in, blow everything out of the mouth. Hold your breath, don't breathe. Suck belly up and under. Still not breathing, flap your belly in and out. Release the belly, inhale. Blow out of your mouth forcefully. Hold your breath, don't breathe. Suck up and then flap in and out. Release belly, inhale. Last one, blow out of the mouth. Hold the breath, don't breathe. Suck up and under, flappy flap. Release, inhale. Woo, gratefully straighten your legs. Heel toe your feet back together. Come and stand at the top of your mat. Let's do sun salutations. So Agni Sara gets your whole pelvis, which includes all of this stuff, connects into the hips. It's like a little bit of lubrication. Even if it felt silly and you thought, I'm still not kind of nailing this, it's okay. Feet steady beneath you, Tadasana, mountain pose. Let's do this lovely thing where you roll the hands out, turn the palms to face forwards, and just stand for a moment, placing your shoulder blades in imaginary back pockets on your leggings. Look ahead of you and breathe right through yourself, right? Oh, that feels good. Hands at heart. Take an in-breath, reach the arms. Exhale, fold, soften the mouth. Left leg back, low lunge, knee down. Inhale, press actively through the left foot. 2 hands down, plank, step it up. Breathe up into the belly. When you exhale, knees lower, chest lower as a modified chaturanga. Inhale, low cobra. There's a reaching of ribs through the arms. Exhale, longer through the belly, down dog. Left leg forwards, low lunge. When you breathe in, telescope your ribs, feel the reach. 2 hands down, forward fold. Root to rise, come all the way up. Exhale, hands up and down. Inhale, arms reach. Fold, exhale out. Lunge, step back, right foot. Activate your right buttock, lift your breath to your fingertips. 2 hands down, plank. Glance at your hands, take an in breath, lift your belly. Knees lower, chest lower, slow and steady. Low cobra, reach out of your legs behind you. Exhale, down dog. Lunge, right foot forwards. Your in-breath reaches out of you. Exhale, forward fold. Slowly come up, noticing the gathering of your breath. Exhale, hands at heart center. Let's go again. Inhale, reach the arms to the ceiling. Exhale, fold. Soften your mouth as you go down, right? Step left foot back, low lunge. Take a breath in here, lift out of yourself. We're going to pause right in this low lunge. If you're very upright, this is fine, right? Perfect. But maybe there's a little more space for you to reach into the left flexor. Either way, 2 hands on the right thigh. I'd like you to traction, grab it and push it away from you as you pop your chest forwards. Feel like you are spreading a space around the front of your right hip flexor. Breathe in, breathe out. Really key, right? Release the hands to the ground. Plank, step back. Scoop your belly, lift it. As you exhale, knees lower, chest lowers. No rush. When you do your low cobra, squeeze your inner thighs slightly together. Exhale, down dog. Left leg forward, low lunge. Inhale, lift up out of yourself. Pausing, find a little more range, right? Where could you go to? What's the kind of feeling as you do that? 2 hands, grab the thigh, push it out of your hip socket and look forwards with your chest. Little squeeze of right buttock for support and stability. Hands release, forward fold, 2 feet join. Rise up, inhale. Exhale, hands at heart center. Let's go again, right side, inhale. Fold forward, soften your mouth. Step your right foot back, no lunge. Let's do this, right? 2 hands frame the front left foot, arrow lunge. Okay, we're going to go into this slowly. The tops of your right toenails are on the mat. Start to straighten the legs so you awkwardly are pressing through the front of your foot. If you can't reach the floor, use a block or 2 blocks under your hands. Stay here or go deeper. Hands might, guess what? Traction the left thigh forwards as you look up. Breathe as you activate your right quad and go with whatever discomfort is in the foot. I know it's a lot. Hands release if they were up, knee down. Step back into plank. The back toes curl under. That feels weird. Lift your belly. Knees, chest lower. Come down slowly. Inhale, low cobra. Reach your toes away from you. Exhale, down dog. Right leg forwards, low lunge. Breathe up, come upright. And then float your hands down to frame the right foot. Lengthen the left foot back away from you, tops of toes on the mat. You're in the lowest lunge you can sort of feel. Arrow lunge, lengthen the left leg, straighten it, knee is off the mat. Power up, right? I mean, it's a lot. Stay here, breathe. Maybe you lift up and traction the right thigh away from you. Left buttock squeezing. Slowly come down, knee to mat. Step back, step forwards rather into fold. Breathe out. Come up, root to rise all the way. Exhale, hands up high. Chair pose, sink the bottom down. Reach out of the fingers. Fold, straighten the legs. Breathe out. Take a halfway lift. Hands on the shins or the floor, long, flat back. 2 hands down, step or hop to plank. Take a full in-breath, push the floor away from you as you scoop into your armpits, knees lower, chest lowers, modified chaturanga. When you breathe in your low cobra, reach out of the tips of your toes. Exhale, pull your belly even longer across the mat, reset down dog. Left foot, warrior 2, steps forward. Come all the way up. Deepen the left knee bend, right? Like feel like you can even do this, right? You can take a hand, grab my right hand, top of hip socket, bottom of thigh. You can kind of pull. It's like just get a bit of space in there, right? There it is. Let's do fists of fire. Turn your palms up to face the ceiling, a little bend in the elbows, like you're carrying some platters. Inhale, big breath. Make a fist. When you exhale, squeeze the low tips of your shoulder blades together as your elbows move behind you towards each other. Inhale, float the hands up. Make a fist. As you exhale slowly, can you actually consciously notice what's happening in the back of you? Last one, inhale, reach up. Make a fist. Your legs are steady. Draw your elbows together behind you. Shake it all out. Let's do reverse warrior at the back of that. Reach the right arm up, cartwheel it to back thumb. Your left arm, as you deepen the left knee, sweeps in a side bend over you. There is softness in the shoulder joint. And the thing that you are thinking about is the reach out of your left hip socket. Your leg is going forwards, your waistline is reversing out of that spot. 2 competing pulls. Can you take a breath into that opening? Come up slowly, floating, right? You're still in warrior 2. Interlace your hands behind you and lengthen your arms. Ostrich. Long front body, fold at the hips with a flat back. Take a breath halfway, re-lengthening the belly forwards. And then fold again. The left knee is deeply bent. You come through your warrior 2 legs and you lift your arms to the ceiling for a little shoulder rinse out. If where you feel this pose is on the inner right thigh, you can slightly bend the right knee. Neck is long, breathe, swirling your breath into left hip socket. Sit with the uncomfortableness for a moment, but be really kind to yourself about it. Arms release. Walk to frame the left foot, step back into down dog. Take a couple of breaths in down dog and pedal your feet out. The left leg will appreciate this a lot. Right foot forwards, warrior 2. Front foot straight, back foot at 90 degrees. Come all the way up. Let's just have a little sense of where we're going with this. You might push the right thigh forwards, grab with your fingertips the kind of crease of your hip and lift and think, okay, that is the space I'm working on right now. Take the arms to the side. Let's do a round of shoulder shrugs. Take a really big breath in. Hold the breath, shrug shoulders straight up to ears. Casually squeeze tops of blades together and then think, I can probably go down a bit, right? As I lift my face to kind of face forwards. Roll it out. Oh, take a big breath into side ribs. Visualize as if you're standing behind yourself, the squeezing of your middle tips of blades together. Go down. Now the palms are up and the elbows are bent. Inhale. Feel your legs a little more as you exhale. Squeeze like fists of fire, low tips of blades, elbows go back, go down. Shake it all about. Reverse warrior, left arm up, cartwheel to back thigh. Deepen the right knee bend and then sweep arc into this opening. So the sides of your right waist are reaching out of the right hip socket. You let the neck go and take a breath into your belly. Floating out of this, come up to straight, still in warrior two. Interlace of hands, do the opposite interlace, the weird one, straighten the arms, ostrich. Long breath, forward fold, flat back. Keep the right knee bend secure. Breathe again, halfway down, fold through. Let your arms rinse your shoulders by lifting the head a bit above the floor. Long neck, open and close the mouth. And then really feel your right hip and thigh getting into the intensity of this pose. When you breathe in, can you reach your belly button away from the pubic bone, forwards and then we fold. Arms unravel, frame the front right foot, step back into down dog. Pedal out your feet, right leg will appreciate it a lot. Last little set of moves, left foot forwards, back in warrior two, very familiar. Left elbow onto left thigh, extended warrior variation. There's no collapse in the armpit, there's a pressing away and a rolling of the chest to face forwards. Neck relaxes. Take a half bind, right? Grab the waistband of your leggings or slide your hand into the nook of your hip. Breathe away from your pubic bone upwards. And then pitch the weight of your skull slightly behind you as you press through active legs. You find space. When I do this pose, I feel it around my right hip crest, right? Like almost like the muscle, the iliac psoas that goes on the inner edge of my right hip crest gets a bit of a stretch. You may not feel it here, it's okay, right? But sometimes opening the chest and leaning back creates that space around the hip. And come out of this and come back up to warrior two, right? We're going to approach head to ankle prep from above. It's a really nice way to do it. Your left hand grabs the middle of your left thigh and you traction it forward. So start with that, right? This pitches you slightly to the right. I'm then going to look down at my right foot and think, I'm going to forward fold to that right foot. So pushing the thigh forwards, I angle myself and fold towards the right. Right hand goes on a block in front of the right foot, and maybe it reaches the floor. Keep locking out and straightening the left arm and push your left thigh forwards as you bend and arc your forward fold to the right. Head hands. Hey presto, head to ankle prep. There is an arcing stretch in your left side ribs, slightly C-shaped from armpit to hip. And as you push your left thigh forwards and away from you, you create your own space around the hip. Again, if your inner right thigh is tight, you might bend the right knee. One more huge breath, side out of the mouth. To come out of the pose, release the left hand, walk towards the left foot. I'd like you to bring the right knee down onto the mat, maybe with some padding. We're in a very upright, right angled, low lunge. We're going to do head to ankle stage 1. It looks like this. 2 hands come to the inside edge of the left foot. Okay, so this feels okay, possibly, right? Nothing really happening. I'd like you to breathe in and lengthen the spine. And then hinging at the hip line, do a forward fold down between the inner leg line, right? So you bend your elbows and let the whole of your torso hang down towards the floor. At the same time, hug your left knee to shoulder and feel the swirling of your breath in the left hip socket. Your elbows get to the floor. I mean, you get where you get, right? Just feeling a stretch in the hip. It's a pigeony kind of feeling. Steady through the feet, both feet actively pressing to the floor. Slowly come out of this pose, hands are on the mat, plank, step back. Take a breather, scoop the belly as you exhale, knees chest lower, no rushing. Inhale, low cobra, it's a long reach forwards. Exhale, down dog. Right foot, warrior 2, steps to front of mat. Extended warrior variation, right elbow onto the right thigh without collapse, you push it away. Roll your chest open, lengthen and soften your neck. Take a half bind. Don't just be in the pose, what can you feel in the pose, right? Take an in-breath and lengthen your low ribs away from the pubic bone and lean slightly behind yourself. And take a lot of pleasure in opening some space, maybe in your left hip crest. If you can't feel this, maybe just breathe into the area, right? So it's like a part of your focus. Oh, not so bad after all. Release, come up into warrior 2, solid through the legs, right? Here's your head to ankle from the top view down. Right hand tractions the thigh. This presses you to the left, forward fold to the left with your left hand landing in front of your left foot on a block or on the mat. Lock out the right arm and push your right thigh forwards and away from you as you arc your torso to the left, head hangs. When you breathe, the spaces between your ribs on the left side get opened up. Feel for creating your own space in the hip socket. Breathe into that space, right? Come out of the pose slowly. Walk your hands forwards, bring the left knee down. You're in a very upright lunge position. Head to ankle stage 1. 2 hands down on the mat, inside edge of right foot. Lengthen your spine, pop your collarbones. With a long flat back, forward fold down the inside edge of your thigh. Bending your elbows, just hanging down. So it looks like this from side on. You're just kind of folding through. And where you get to is where you get to. It's about what you're feeling in the right hip. Both feet solidly connected to the ground, particularly the right foot, pressed through the ball and the heel. And this is helpful, right? Every time you breathe in, rather than pulling your belly into a tight contraction, lengthen the belly button slightly forwards. And exhale, fold again. Neck is long. And if it's awkward, it's awkward, it's okay. Be kind about that. It's just a thing. Come out of the pose slowly, step back into down dog. Down dog, pedal out your feet. Lift your tail a moment and then wiggle your hips, right? Kind of pull your bottom side to side like you're doing that nudge thing again. Nudge each side of your down dog. And then bring your knees to the mat. Very nice, guys. Come on, line your backs. Almost there. We'll do, because it's going to feel very appropriate, figure of four, back release pose. Knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Pick your left foot up, flexing the foot and feel on top of the right knee. This is going to feel so open, right? I think you're familiar with this. Hands grab the right thigh, hug it towards you as you press your left thigh away. We're back in space, which we're familiar with now. Hippie hipsters. You be really soft and kind and gentle in this stretch with your body and yourself. No tension in the shoulders, mouth is relaxed. Space between the eyebrows is relaxed. Slow breaths into the low back, right sacrum, which is flat. Gently release, swap sides. Right foot flexed, places itself on top of the left knee. Open the thigh away. We've done this in so many variations today, it's quite interesting. Hands grab the left thigh, pull it towards you. Press the right knee away from you to activate the pose a little more. But keep your back body really soft. With the head slightly side to side. Notice what goes on in your neck without you even realizing it. And then release that down. Shavasana. If you feel like Happy Baby would be kind of a nice little ending, you can do that as well. Grabbing outside edge of ankles, tops of feet. Your hips are ready for it, right? Even a little roll side to side. I quite like this in the low back. Really flat and pancake that low back. As you draw the knees down, you feel those hips kind of, they feel quite warm now. There's like a sort of residual kind of warmth in the hip socket. As you kind of moved so much within this space. It's got a different kind of texture to it. And come into Shavasana, because Shavasana is going to feel good. Your hips are going to feel gloopy in a sort of nice way. Make sure your legs are slightly separated when you relax, feet turned out. If you like to do legs up on the wall, you can also do that. Whatever works, right? It's super comfy. We're going to do 3 minutes of quiet reflection in your final resting pose. Warm layers, maybe something over the eyes. Check in with yourself, right, before you drift towards a little bit more softness. Are your shoulder blades placed away from your ears? You know, like shuffle them down a little bit. Feel very connected to the back of your body that's in connection with the floor. And then just rest in the acquaintance that you have made with your pelvis, your hips, your low back. Just take that all back into yourself, assimilating your practice. Start to very slowly deepen your breaths. I think this part of the practice is like reconnections, right? Making connections with yourself again. With all the parts of you. Take a long breath in, extend your arms above you and reach space into the front body. And then very slowly hug your knees towards you and roll maybe side to side. Take an arm up above you, doesn't matter which, what feels appropriate, and roll onto one side. Keep your eyes shut for a few moments longer. Pause, just wait and briefly kind of observe yourself. The yoga pose is not the goal. Becoming flexible is not the ultimate goal either. Standing on your hands is definitely not the goal. The goal is to create space where you were once stuck, to unravel the layers of protection that you've built around yourself slowly, to appreciate your body and become aware of the mind and the noise it creates, to make peace with who you are. Come to your yoga mat to feel, not to accomplish. Very slowly press up to seated. Be comfortable, hands at prayer. Feel the thumbs pressing into your center, your heart center, and breathe right through there, right? Because it feels light and empowering. That which is sacred in me honors and salutes that which is sacred in each of you. Namaste. Fabulous, my gorgeouses. Well done.